Okay, what else did you pick up from that exercise? Was it easy, difficult, uncomfortable?
60 seconds isn't as long as you think it's going to be.
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, it goes quite quick, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that you get out of it what you want
No.
to either.
No. Because actually what can happen actually is a lot of people can end up just waffling, you know. And of course, I forced you into a rather unusual sort of situation because, to be fair, you wouldn't do a pitch, so to speak. You would actually create a conversation. But the exercise on this one is that you need to be ready for when you have to do that pitch. Because if you're not ready, you end up just waffling away and doing, well, I'll sort of do this. And then it all dries up and everything. So the whole point of this one is to sort of say, well, how ready actually are you to really convey an interesting, stimulating, personal brand message? Because if you're not engaged with it, then I can guarantee you no one else is going to be engaged with it. And if you waffle on, everyone else is sort of standing there and politely nodding, but really and truly it's just going, you know, because you did it to other people and other people do it to you. So this is the important part. So the reason why I put you through that little bit of pain by sort of saying, okay, do some rating, is because I want to sort of see whether or not can we create change. And if you got some really good marks, congratulations. But let's sort of see whether or not can we actually take your experience another sort of stage further. So what I want to do now actually, so based on the feedback that you've got, is to really now start getting you thinking about if there was only 6 words that you can say about yourself, what would those only 6 words be? So if you remember rightly, I said, okay, the structure is around the character. So when you're thinking about your 6 words, I don't want you to put in characteristic words. You demonstrate your character. Okay, your personality should be there. So therefore, the 6 words actually tend to go much more towards expertise and or experience. And if you want to change that language into specialist or you want to change it into projects, I don't really mind. It's entirely up to you. So the 6 words I want you to create are all to do with expertise and specialism and experience, that sort of thing. Because I want you to put yourself into the shoes of someone who could be an introducer, a connector. And I want you to think about, if we had a conversation, what's my takeaway? Now I'm going to be a bit nasty here actually. I'm going to just pick on random people and I'm going to ask you to tell me what your expertise or specialism is. And I'm going to give you some feedback quite quickly, and it's going to be quite to the point. But it's going to illustrate something. Now please don't be scared, because it's the only way I can actually show you what the stuff that's going on. So you can't have a ginger beard and not be picked on. So oh no. So if you had to say, so if I said to you then, give me 2 or 3 words that tells me about your expertise and or experience, what would they be?
Knowledge, passion, you're trustworthy.
Cool. Trustworthy. Okay. Now, can I work with this bloke?
I've got no idea what he does.
Exactly. So I can't take you with me. Failed.
Lost the sale.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's have a look at somebody else. Lady with that nice bob there. I know, that's you.
So I work with local government to bring transformation initiatives to help them improve services.
So the bit that worked was, what does she say that you go, oh yeah, that makes sense? Sorry?
She had expertise and not experience.
So, but what expertise in? But what does that mean? What does that mean? I know, it's that, so when you look at transformation, it's just a sort of vague, lovely word, but it's all a bit vague. What does that mean? So the bit I got was local government. I'm going, okay, local government. That gives me a nice little box. When you then said transformation, I'm going, in what? So it creates a question. Now that question could be good, but it could also be as a connector. Local government, transformation, not enough. So what you could have done is gone local government, transformation specifically around. Okay, and then you've got 1, 2, 3. All right, and as a connector I go, oh yeah, 1, 2, 3. As much as I can remember is 3 things. So the next person I go and talk to and they sort of say they're into local government, I go, you immediately come to head. Transformation, no one says I'm looking for transformation. Well, they might use it in part of a sentence, but it's not the main part of the sentence. It's transformation of what? So it's the what is your second word, and then you can then use transformational stuff. Does that make sense? Okay, let's have one more example. Gentlemen, we're just about to have a beer.
General IT support guy. I am patient, I have great honesty, and I am very friendly.
Okay, so what's the bits that you remember? IT support.
He's friendly.
He is friendly. It's lovely. Okay, so the first thing is he's gone straight into his expertise. General IT support. That's quite a nice little combination. Actually, fun enough, I got an email today. Someone sort of saying, I'm a small business and I need some general IT support. I want someone to set me up with Office 365. Can you do that?
I know vaguely how to, but
Oh, wrong answer. No, vaguely is not good.
the not online version.
Okay, so therefore, but that's a really good point, you see, because well, I know that it is honest. But that's the second point about that one is that when you've got general IT support, okay, so my head's going, oh, actually, someone asked me today about that. So actually, you're more specific than that. So if you then had to rearrange that, so is it general IT support or is it general IT support specialising in? So what do you specialise in? Because it's not Office 365 and...
I guess Office 2013,
Okay.
which is the offline version of Office 365.
Okay, all right, okay, well, yeah, okay. I don't know what, now I'm getting into panic state going, oh God, this is way beyond me. But you see my point, so I get an email in sort of saying, we're looking for, and I'm sort of thinking, actually, well, my IT support, actually, they do 365. So I was then going, oh, okay, that could be interesting. But there's a distinction, I had no idea, who'd figure? Okay, so therefore, you could create that distinction, because that then does help, because you could get leads this way, but then you might sort of say, actually, well, we don't specialise in that. And then I might be going, well, why don't you say?
I'd probably do it and give it a go anyway.
Spoken like a true IT person. Yeah, I'll give that a go. So you see how it's all sort of starting to sharpen up a little bit. So we've got knowledge. So I'll be looking for knowledge in what? Okay. If you then got trustworthy, that's your character. You know, that just needs to come across. That's just demonstrated. What happens is that people are looking for those who can solve a problem. So what problem do you solve? Okay, because it comes back to these trigger words I was talking about earlier on. Does that make sense? So I'm going to give you, to help you now, try and really pull you apart so that we can put you back together. So this form, okay, is to try and give you some more structure. So if you have a look at that form, there are about 6 or 7 things listed. I'd like you to select no more than 3 in which you feel really strongly this is either what you specialise in or want to be known as, and if you're not there yet, but what you aspire to be. So just pick 2 or 3 where you go, okay, so in my case, I'm an expert and I'm a connector. So those are my 2 big things. Okay, so I'm a networking expert and I'm a connector. So when I looked at that form, those are the 2 things that I would highlight. So have a look at that first of all and say, right, if you had to pick 2 of those out of the 6 or 7 that's listed, which ones would represent your brand the most? Or which ones would you want it to represent your brand the most? Once you've ticked the 2 that you think, yeah, that's who I am, I want you to fill out the right-hand side and give an example. Or to illustrate it in some way. So if you say you're an expert in what? Unpack it a little bit for me. If you're a connector, how would you demonstrate that? If you're an industry specialist, in what industry or what sector? If you're a mentor, who do you mentor in terms of, I know, do you mentor students, do you mentor retirees, you know, anything like that at all? Do you mentor your clients? When you have your conversations, and this time have a conversation, okay, rather than doing pitching, but I'm still going to give you about a minute and a half to have a conversation. Okay, but in this time, in that conversation, I want you to start using this type of language, if you haven't already been doing so. Because I want to make absolutely sure that when people will leave you, they have a strong sense of who you are and what you do. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so no waffling, no blah, blah, blah. You know, I really need you to come to the point. So I'll come back to your example, sir, when you're sort of saying about knowledge and trustworthy and all those sort of things. It doesn't take me anywhere. But I'm now hoping that what you're, I mean, you probably did it on the first round anyway, but looking at that deep explanation about what you do as much as the character that they get when they're with you. Yeah, and you bring those two bits together again. But also think about the impact that you want to create. Now, I turned up tonight feeling a bit like a Tigger tonight, you know, so I am a bit more bouncy, and that's not what I'm expecting you to do. But I am expecting you to want to make an impact. You know, when you come to networking events, there is nothing worse when you meet, I don't know, 10, 20 people, whatever it is, and they come out with blah, 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 and there's just no bloody energy. You know, that's not what, you know, whenever you come to a networking event, if you don't have energy, then why would I bother? Okay, so impact is all around bringing some sort of energy. So the other person goes, "Cool, it sounds interesting. Tell me a little bit more." Does that make sense? Okay, so therefore your choice is, what's the impact that you want to create? Be yourself, be your natural, lovely self, whatever that looks like, but make sure there is some impact that's going to happen. You know, that nice handshake, you know, let's engage, let's chat. Okay, but in that conversation, the other person must get you. Because anyone could be a connector in this room. Anyone. And that's the exciting bit. This is the mystery, isn't it? Anyone here could introduce you to somebody, and that could be a smashing contract. And wouldn't that be nice? Yes? Fantastic. That's the energy that you want. Okay, so this time again, so you want to bring your bit of paper with you, the one with the form on it. Okay, I'd like you to again go meet somebody that you don't yet know, and don't start. Let me sort of kick the timer thing off, and I'm going to give you about a minute to between 1 and 2 minutes to have a good conversation. But this time, make sure you are putting across the right key words, and I'm going to get you to evaluate as you did last time. So everybody up, go find somebody new.